folks, part 2 is underway again. Dwayne,
Yes, sir.
I read something very, very disturbing. And
I read something disturbing too. It's called my checkbook.
Susie doesn't allow me in the checkbook. She took over the finances
Okay.
51 years ago.
Oh, I took ours over. That's probably,
I had a checking account,
mhm.
and she said, "Give me a checkbook." I said, "Here you go." She said, "When's the last time you balanced this?"
Same scenario. I took
I
that.
said-
When has this thing been balanced? Oh, I don't know.
2 or 3 years
Yeah.
ago, 4 years ago. So she balanced it. Went through the whole motions. Guess what she found? It was correct to the penny. But anyway, Susie takes care of the finances, and
My son can't understand why I balance the checkbook.
yeah,
He says, "Why do you do that?" Of course, he does everything. Everything is paid by
Electronically.
electronic.
Yeah.
And all that. He said, I look at the statement. First of all, I look down to see if they look like my checks. And yeah, I did all them. I look how much they said I started with, how much I got. That's it. He says, why do I want to double check what the computer just said? I mean, it kind of makes sense, but I still can't get away from not doing it.
I know. Susie gets the statement from the credit card companies, two credit card companies, and I have to account. Now, what was this for?
Okay, yeah.
You went. Did you go to Target?
Well, I have to ask that.
$29.
I have to ask that occasionally too. Like,
Yeah,
what did you do at CVS for $113?
yeah, and I better have the answers.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't care if she bought it. I just care if it's a legitimate charge. And most of them I do not so much doing the checking account, but the credit card statement.
yes,
I go down and I said it'll come off.
but that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The credit card statement, But, and she checks them all off,
Mm-hmm.
and I handed my receipts, most of them.
Because every once in a while there'll be somebody in there that I said, wait a minute, this is not. There's one came up about 8 months ago, and it was Triborough something. I said, I never bought anything in Triborough, that plaza down there. After a few phone calls, it was the new billing for Sun Chronicle.
You know, the same thing happened to me. I said, KRB Associates?
Yeah, it's stuff like that.
Well, what the hell? And she said, well, it's $39.99. I said, I don't know what the hell it could be. I'll do something. So I went in KRB Associates, and I Googled them and said, who are they? And
Mm-hmm.
okay, yeah. It's your new subscription to World War II magazine.
Yeah.
Is being handled by
By-
them. They're the billing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. So I haven't caught any fraud yet.
Yeah.
But, I mean, she checks everything.
Mm-hmm.
And,
But I learned not to give my grandkids checks though.
I know.
I got one of April of 21 or February last, not this past February, the February before for Valentine's, still not cashed. I got to carry it every damn month, and I keep telling her, well, she said, I can't find it. I said, well, I'm taking it off, so when you find it, tear it up.
My oldest boy, Paul, when he was a teenager, was careless, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
So for Christmas or birthday or something like that, Susie's father, Big Al, would write him a check for $20 or
Yeah.
$25 or something, and put it in a birthday card and mail it to him. He'd look at it. Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's the
And-
same thing up here.
and never cash it.
Yeah.
So that happened 2 years in a row. Al stopped sending him birthday cards with money in them.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's what I said too. I'm not going to ever write him a check again.
yeah. It's, I don't know.
But my middle grandson, there's two boys, and the middle one, boy, he goes by the numbers. Everything is meticulous. You give him a check, 3 days later, it's in the bank, and he's got everything all laid out. You know, the youngest of the boys, a loose cannon, and the girl, she's off on someplace else too. And Owen's he's going to be the scientist, I think. You know, for a hobby, he built a computer now, and he does all this kind of stuff.
I don't even know how to turn on
I
the
don't either.
computer. I know there's a button
And
someplace.
the kids love Legos. They got Lego, unbelievable amount of Legos. But when the youngest would do Legos, he'd have 8, 10 parts left over. I said, "What's that?" "Oh, they're just random parts. They're just stuff, you know." But they weren't. But he didn't care. They were just leftovers. But Owen, when he did it, everything had to be just perfect. When I'd work with him, he said, "No, Grandpa, you got it upside down." You know.
My kids loved Legos, and they still do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they built all kinds of big things, and
We bought him a book one year because they had so many Lego of ideas of
yeah.
from the Lego people what you can build. It was amazing.
There's a Lego store over in the Natick Mall. They get Lego kits over there you wouldn't believe.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
And they all have one common denominator, though. They're expensive.
Oh, you were not kidding. They're expensive.
I have a rather disturbing piece out of the Wall Street Journal.
Okay.
CEOs, officials warn of crisis food is facing. And it goes on to talk about the wheat in
Oh yeah.
Afghanistan, Ukraine,
Crane.
that is being burnt and destroyed by the Russian troops. And they're not being allowed to ship the wheat out
That's right.
through the Black Sea.
They're getting a little bit out through Poland
Yep.
on the land, but not. Now, did you see the proposal to somebody wrote a proposal that the NATO countries ought to just escort the cargo ships,
Yeah.
whatever they call them, in, load them up, and escort them back out. So don't mess with us.
I think something along those lines may happen here because Biden this morning was asked about the length of the Ukrainian war. Is the United States going to be able to continue to support the Ukraine in an open-ended fashion? And he got feisty, I guess, for him. And we will support the Ukraine down to the final minute of this.
You don't dare say no. Because
Exactly right. You know, and by the way, Donald Trump also. But one of the first things that was discussed by President Biden after he took office was pulling troops out of Germany and bringing them home. Too much money. It's costing us too much money. And Donald Trump had the same thing.
Same thing.
Now, the generals talked Trump out of it. I think he only pulled like 2,000 out or something. And they basically said, oh, it's a rotation, we're going to put him back in again.
that
It shows weakness.
yeah, but they use it. The politicians use it as a point because everybody says, yeah, it's costing us a lot of money. Well, they shouldn't be there. They're not doing anything there, and they score goody points off that. But
they are doing good there.
yeah, oh yeah.
And when they've done that, at that point in time, Putin smelled blood in the water.
Yeah.
And look what he's done.
The question, can we sustain our support in Ukraine? The answer is physically and economically, yes. Because what we're sending there is, overall is a lot of money, a lot of resources, but overall it's not. The condition or the equipment we have and the capability that we have. The question you got to ask there too, can Russia sustain that? Russia tried this in Afghanistan and got, you remember they were in there really hard and
In Chechnya.
in Chechnya, it just going on and started grinding them right down.
And when the people were getting sons back in
That's
body
right.
bags, that is when the Russians pulled out of Chechnya.
Yep. But we've got a lot. I am really surprised of NATO support. I mean, they've really come together on this one.
They have.
Usually there's a lot of families, like NATO
It was
families,
like
squabbling.
herding turtles.
Yeah, oh yeah. One wants to go here and one wants to go here. But they have come together. And
They have indeed.
even that thing when Turkey was yep about Sweden, but they saw, I don't know what happened in the background. Some deals were made.
Sweden and Finland agreed that they would try to temper
Yep.
the temperature of the Kurdish rebels.
And Turkey's squawking because I don't mean that little like turkey squawks, but Turkey. After I said it, that kind of sounds stupid. They got something out of it, and they knew it. They saw the opportunity to play a trump card here. And I don't mean Trump. I mean an ace or a.
I don't think that the Swedes or the Finns are going to lift a finger. I don't think there's anything they can do. The Kurdish people are, again, like a lot of the people in that part of the country, they'd rather fight and die
That's right.
than raise tomatoes in their backyard. They're
Yeah.
just born like a racehorse.
That's it, yeah.
They're born to fight.
Yeah.
So the Turks were able to win
Something.
a phony win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got
Well,
something out of it.
we look good in this. We were.
But that's the whole part of diplomacy. You want something, you give something.
Exactly.
If you don't, then nothing gets done anywhere.
Tip O'Neill and
Well.
Ronald Reagan and Jack Daniels.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
And the use of back channels has been going on for a long, long time.
Yeah.
If it wouldn't have been for back channels among generals, we would have never got anywhere even on Vietnam and prior to that.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't even decide to remember the shape of the negotiating table.
Oh,
But General A would call General B on the other side and say, "Hey, what do you think of this?" No, I don't know. I tell you what, I'll do this if you do that.
Yeah.
And it would get done. But
he's got 4 stars. I got 3 stars.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to sit there. Yeah. I know. Vanity is.
oh my God.
Enters into this far out of proportion than it needs to be. But so the gist of the article is that the Russians are destroying the grain.
Oh yeah, I know.
So my point that I wrote here: will Russia try to starve the Ukrainians into submission, along with a scorched earth policy to teach them a lesson? The answer to that's yes.
Well,
That's
if they
exactly.
could. Oh, absolutely, if they
Yeah.
could.
And-
but they can't.
He can certainly
He can make it.
impact
Abso-
their
absolutely.
living and their food supply. And if he can use that, he's going to do it. He
Yeah.
doesn't care. If children starve,
He doesn't care.
doesn't care. Nope. As long as he has his girlfriend and his vodka.
Yep.
But I'll tell you what, I can see a trickle down because the Ukrainians supplied accounted Ukraine's global wheat exports, which along with Russia had accounted for 1/3 of the global total. And you take 1/3 of the pork, or 1/3 of the beef,
It doesn't matter,
or
1/3 of anything.
1/3 of whatever,
5% is a big factor
off
in something
the
like
table.
this. Yeah, not,
and you have chaos.
yeah. And the thing is that who's going to get impacted the worst?
The poor people.
Yeah, the African, Sahara, Sub-Sahara, all those people that always were getting that, that's where this stuff was going. It won't affect, other than raise the price, industrialized Europe, the United States, North America. They won't have much effect on them.
I hope not. I hope you're right.
Not us. It won't, because
We're not
we
having
can-
a great wheat season in the Middle West, though.
yeah, well, it's still early.
Yeah.
But you don't forget, you got in the Western Hemisphere, everybody forgets about Brazil. But my God, they are a huge, huge producer of everything.
What happens if Brazil is overthrown by a dictator who decides to blackmail the U.S. by shutting off the food supply?
Now we're going to have a whole different situation.
I always concerns me, and I never talk about it.
Yeah. Now we can feed our country. We can feed between the United States and Canada. We can grow what we have to grow. In fact, we could grow. We grow a lot that we export.
Yes.
In fact, we fight to get markets for our product. But if there was no other producers, it would be like we'd have to shut the exports off. We're setting with a. And I meant to ask my brother-in-law too for some sharper figures, but we're setting with unused land, a lot of it. And it used to be called a soil bank, and now it's got some fancy government name, preservation or some damn thing, of hundreds of thousands. It's an untold amount of land that's set in fallow. They have to, because they wanted to cut down the excess group.
Because we don't have enough room to store.
We don't, yeah. And
Yeah,
the
the
market,
storage, yeah.
the world market was such that you were losing money on the stuff you were raising. So the idea was to, well, put this land aside. It's cheaper for the government to pay the farmer so much an acre
A subsidy, right? Yeah.
and not grow,
Right.
not produce.
Right.
They got to put a cover crop on it, otherwise it would
Yeah.
blow away or erode. So
Erode,
usually it's a hay like a grass crop of some kind, and they just let it go. And in the Midwest, they will plant 8 or 10 rows of corn on the outside, and they leave that go. That's for deer and animals and stuff to graze. Well, they're taking some of that back out now to plant. It's been planted. Because of the prices, to help stabilize the price situation.
There's a huge international demand for soybeans.
Oh my God, yeah.
Just-
Soybeans and wheat, that's
yeah.
too big, and corn.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the
So-
problem again is the price of natural gas. And you say, well, natural gas, people forget that ammonium nitrates is manufactured from natural gas. So when that natural gas price goes up, ammonium nitrate goes up, which is the primary fertilizer in these lands.
People don't know this stuff.
Because you could get 60 bushels of soybeans off an acre without injecting that soil with nitrates.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, it's not done.
You know, it's amazing, but I talk to people. My wife said, can't you ever shut up?
Oh, I get
Do
that.
you have to do this? Well, I said, if I don't teach these kids, what do you want, plastic or paper? That was what I always used to trigger.
Okay. Yep.
And I'd say to the kid, which one is a renewable natural resource? The plastic. I said, where does plastic come from? They make it.
Plastic trees.
I said, yeah. I said, does it come from plastic trees?
Yeah.
Yeah, it must. Yeah. They make it. They manufacture it. I said, no. I said, paper comes from trees. That's a renewable natural resource. Plastic comes from petroleum,
Yeah. Petroleum
oil.
product. Yep.
Do you know the kids will not believe that?
That's true. I know they won't. They don't see that. They don't understand that. But
Larry
even-
Larry Kudlow.
I saw, I don't know who put it out, and but it was a thing that somebody was saying we have to eliminate the fossil fuel industry. And they had a whole picture of something, and they go, boop, boop, stuff that's disappeared, boop, boop, boop. The cars all of a sudden are sitting on the ground with no tires. Plastic is gone, their phone's gone, their cell phone they're on, boop, that's gone. You know, it just like, if you eliminate the fossil fuel business, you've eliminated your way of life that you've become accustomed to.
Larry Kudlow on Fox News, smart guy, contends that inflation spikes are 60 to 70% caused by our energy policy. Think about it. Now, this is Bill Crane. Petroleum powers cars and pickup trucks. Diesel trucks that transport goods.
Oh, absolutely. It just goes.
Trains and freight. Fertilizer. Farm equipment. Tractors. Combines. Construction equipment. Bulldozers. Cranes. Graders. All of our air traffic. I said, do you think airplanes just up there by magic? It's
No.
petroleum. Private planes. And it's used in making plastics. And where do you suppose asphalt comes from?
Yep.
Yeah. We also use it to heat our homes, fire up our power plants, to generate electricity
Well,
for our EV cars.
Yep. It goes on and on. It just there's no.
Yeah. And they want fossil fuels out of business.
Yeah. I think
President Biden.
don't they
John
employ like
Kerry.
1 out of 6 people or 1 out of 5 people in the country is somehow hooked into the fossil fuel business.
Yep. President Biden, John Kerry, and their green programs are really transforming our country, all right, from America being great again and energy independent. We are marching straight back to the Stone Age.
Yeah. There's never ever. I've never heard one of them yet when they start talking about whether it be the Green New Deal or electrification. We have to electrify houses. We have to electrify this. We have to electrify our vehicles. Where is the electricity come from? First thing they say, well, from renewable resources, and then they won't talk about it. They do not have a plan.
In 1970, okay,
Yeah.
in this country, 14% of the power that we generated came from green sources,
Yep. Okay.
nuclear.
Yeah.
Okay?
That was the big
Yes.
renewable or big green source that
Now,
nobody wanted to admit to.
50 years later,
Yeah,
okay, guess what? What do you suppose the amount is?
I don't know, 3 or 4,
18%.
18 is 1% growth.
18%.
I know if one closes, they don't replace them.
In 50 years, we have gone from 14% renewables to 18% renewables.
Yep.
Oh boy, those big windmills are really pitching in, aren't they? And the solar panels,
That's right.
aren't they really doing the job? This is nonsense. We are using 82% fossil fuels to generate power,
Bill,
to generate
right.
electricity.
But this whole thing is so poorly thought out and so political and so
Utterly madness.
madness. That's a good point for it. But even the vehicles. Now Buick has announced, what, in 8 years or something, no more internal combustion engines.
Something like that.
GM is looking to do that completely, get rid of them. Well, where in the hell are you going to get the electricity to start running these things? Where are you going to get? You don't plug one. You don't. Now you pull into a gas station. You put a hose in your car. 90 seconds later, you got a full tank and you pull away. You got an electric car. You plug it in, and it maybe take 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours.
Yeah, you can get
2
one
hours.
of the super blasts so that it's 90 minutes or
Yeah,
something.
but 90 minutes.
But finding the charging station, find it.
And if you didn't, if every other vehicle was electric, that damn line at 90, even a 30-minute recharge, the damn lines would be 100 miles long. Cars waiting to charge up.
It is madness.
It's
Now,
stupid. And they don't. There's nothing thought out about
a
it.
woman wrote an article about driving from point X to point Y, 2,300 miles. Took her 3 days or 4 days. Most of the time was spent finding charging stations.
Exactly. Yep.
And there's only a couple of extraordinary vehicles that do over 400 miles on the charge. But you can't trust that. At 300, you've got to be looking for a charging station.
That's right. You can't take a chance.
You can't run it down to 380 and say,
"Oops."
hey, I'm almost out of electricity. So until we have an infrastructure that can charge these electric vehicles, we got nothing.
We got nothing. That's exactly
And here's
right.
another thing. The electric vehicles are not exactly flying off the shelf. They are at 5% of the total sales and not moving.
Well, right now they're so damned expensive.
Well, Tesla just went up on their prices a huge amount.
Did you see what the Ford F-150, the all-electric
The
cost?
Lightning.
$95,000. Of course, when they show the ad where it's plugging into the house, they don't tell you that. And also, watch. I'm a small print reader. We got a new TV too, and it's really ultra clear. But the little prints on the bottom, I love reading that.
Yeah, if you can read it fast enough.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta watch that commercial 3 or 5, 6 times. That Ford one where they plug it into the house. Vehicle alone does not provide this electricity. Alternate or additional generators on the truck do.
Like they get little mini Generacs on there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's madness, absolute madness. We are being sold a bill of goods that if it were another country in another time, Kerry would be lined up in front of a firing squad.
Oh yeah.
I mean, for what is going on?
I know.
And then, then he walks down and hops on Air Force 8 or whatever it is, some big 727 or 747 or something, and flies off. He's too important to drive an EV around.
Or worse yet, he gets on his 80-foot yacht,
Oh,
which you wouldn't pay taxes in this state.
Yeah,
Because, well, I never go to Massachusetts. It
no.
stays in Rhode Island.
yeah, right.
Harbor master says, I see that boat here all the time.
My word, I'll tell you. By the way, along with Biden and Kerry on this energy stuff, let's not forget Barack Obama, who was a key Biden advisor and who hates this country and wants the U.S. to become a miserable third world hellhole to level the playing field.
Yeah,
How many times did we hear that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We
That we are arrogant, effete snobs.
Yeah.
And,
we should be lowering our standard of living
yeah.
to some level down here.
Well, it's like the school systems.
Yeah, always go down, dumb it down to the lowest level,
Yeah.
lowest common level.
the school systems, rather than have one level, 2 level, 3 level, and put the kids in it in the correct level for their ability to learn, you can't put them in the 3 level. They'll feel poopy about themselves.
They only felt pokey because you told them
That's right.
that you're going to feel pokey.
Exactly.
The kids that went to the 3rd level were not feeling pokey, they were feeling accomplished because now they can compete and keep up with what the level that they were learning.
Exactly.
They're not being frustrated by putting in the, it's like you and I going into advanced chemistry or physics, we wouldn't know what the hell's going on.
I wouldn't even know how to open the doorknob of the lab.
That's right.
But he was obsessed, and probably still is, I'm sure is still, to pull us down to the level of the rest of the world.
Yeah. Well, that
But yet-
mindset is universal. It's in everything.
But yet, where did Kerry and him go
Yeah.
in the summertime? Where did they spend their summers? Martha's Vineyard
Yep.
and Nantucket. Oh, gee, is that the level down here? No, that's the ultra rich.
That's right.
I'm a snob part of the world, and that's where those 2 phonies both gravitate to.
Oh,
We
yeah.
shouldn't lose sight of that. By the way, nationally last year, 1 million registered Democrats became Republicans.
Yeah.
That little factoid is not in any of the New York Times articles.
No.
Um,
I think depends on if the Republicans don't shoot themselves anymore in the foot.
oh, we're going to.
They're going to get. You think they're going to?
Yeah. There is no doubt that I have no rose-colored glasses to wear that says the Republicans are going to avoid shooting themselves in the foot.
It'd be too
They
bad
have
because-
got Donald Trump to deal with,
Yep. That's going to be.
And-
That's their Achilles heel right there.
and he is going to say, "I want to run for president.
Yep.
If I don't run for president, I'm going to run as an independent and split the party right in half.
Yeah.
And you'll have the Democrats. So the hell with you. You either take me or you lose it all."
Yeah, I think
And
you're right.
that
if that happens, and
I live in fear of that, but I think it is a distinct possibility.
Yeah, because-
Now, when rational people have a difference of opinion, they can sit down and say, "Let us reason together."
yeah,
No reasoning with Donald Trump.
no, I just finished Peril Woodward's book,
Okay.
and that's one of the things that he brings. That's a very good book, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's a year old, or a little over a year, so it's a little bit outdated. But as things move so fast now, but like he brings out a lot of things that he equates Donald Trump. He says he's like a 6-year-old that has temper tantrums. He doesn't. He's not concentrating on the country or the best. He concentrates on Donald Trump. Period. And he said that's what people were on these TV things, and you know, when they had the debates and the different things. Every time he went on TV, his points went down. If he was off for a while, they'd start coming back up. And his advisors kept telling him, "Don't do that."
Yeah.
And what they used to call him, "Don't go on TV and be." This is what I'm quoting the book.
Yeah, flag that one, Chris.
But they called him, that's what they kept telling him, "Don't do that." But he wouldn't listen.
I know. And you know, he does get points. When he waded in to the reporters and had one-on-ones with them and answered them candidly and confidently.
Yeah.
He looked good doing that.
Yeah.
He was not a politician running and hiding from questions.
Yeah.
Anybody got any more questions? How many times you heard him say that?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We all done? Yeah. This guy, Biden, will not talk to the press
No.
or the people without it being fully rehearsed.
Yeah, he's not confident enough. He knows that he can't
Do you think so?
speak extra. I'm sure he recognizes it. You know, we recognize.
Should we invite him on the show?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. I think so too. I'd really like to have him come. Maybe, he might take a look at you and I and
I'm
say,
sure he will.
gee, that would be a great idea. Go
Maybe,
on with.
maybe we get Donald Trump at the same time.
Well, now let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're closing our eyes, and it's 2024. And we just got our ballot. President Joseph Biden, Donald Trump. Who do I vote for?
You know, Bill, if you could pick out a better doomsday scenario, I don't know who it would be.
I'd vote for Trump. I've thought about this, mainly because I hope that somehow we've learned, and his staff has learned, that he has got to be put in a straitjacket and anesthetized from time to time and calmed down.
Oh, God, that's a scenario that everybody fears.
But unfortunately, I'm afraid that Joe Biden is just headed towards a precipice, and it's going to go over the precipice. I don't think there's any way of reviving that. And I don't like the idea of these puppet masters pulling his strings.
No.
We don't know who is making the decisions in the White House. And isn't that a shame?
Yeah.
And if that were going on with Donald Trump, you don't think Chuck Schumer wouldn't be trying to impeach him again? He would be all over him.
Yeah. Well,
Who is president? I demand to know who is president. But you see anything in the papers about that or on TV? On Fox, maybe, but you don't find it anyplace else.
Yeah. There's so much stuff goes on in the back that we don't have any idea who really controls what today. And it's not really something new. It's been going on for years.
Well, it's very plain too, because Biden says, they won't let me talk about that.
Yeah.
No, I can't talk to you folks. My staff has told me I gotta keep moving. Moving. Can't talk.
This is not a prime example, but it is an example. When Jimmy Carter became president, Jimmy Carter was always interested in UFOs. He said, I don't know what's going on here, but he says, when I become president, I'm going to find out. And he tried. He says, after he became president, he says, they wouldn't tell me. He said, I'm the president. They says, you're not authorized to know.
Do you know, speaking of stories like that in high school, stop me if I've told you this before.
Okay.
In high school, a kid sat beside me, Dave Binney. Nice guy.
Yep.
Went to the U.S. Military Academy, West Point.
Mm-hmm.
Joined the FBI.
Obviously.
Went to Vietnam.
Yep.
Joined the FBI. And got to be number 2 guy
Okay.
in the FBI. Number 1 is always a political appointment.
Yeah, exactly.
But of the guys in the FBI, he got to be number 2. Told a friend of mine when he was last visiting.
Kid really had his stuff together.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He was, and plus he was motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, absolutely.
But he told a friend of mine, because he used to come back to Rentham, family and all. And anyway, he bumped into Dave, and Dave said to him, how's everything going, blah, blah, blah. They got talking about something. And he said, what I forget how it started, but anything surprising or you get any inside info, any scoop, or he said no. He said, but he said I'll tell you something. He said I have watched every film of the Kennedy assassination 1,000 times.
Oh, I'm sure with being an FBI, they've studied that.
He said, I have studied it until my head hurts. He said, Oswald could not have acted alone.
Mm-hmm.
There had to be two shooters. And he said, they closed it up. They wouldn't let the story out.
Oh yeah.
But he was convinced that it was a massive cover-up.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me. I don't know anything about
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah, but it's like the UFOs.
yeah.
There is this network of lifers working within the government, and they just say, no, that story ain't getting out. And they just
Yeah.
close the doors. By the way, here's a couple of more interesting numbers. Last year, on 31 December, the interest rate for mortgages was 3.1. It's now 5.8.
Yep.
How can Biden possibly blame that on Trump?
I think the 5.8 is part of the anti-inflationary function.
His administration.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, he's denying that. I had nothing to do with it.
But,
Ay.
what bothers me on interest rates, even when it was 3.5, banks are paying squat on savings, on incomes, or monies that's coming into them. Never in the history of banking have they paid so little, and the gap was so wide. You know, interest rates, years ago on buying a house was 7%, 8%, but they were giving 4 or 5% on savings or investment.
Oh.
Now they're giving 1/10 of 1% and charging 3. That's 30 times difference.
When we're talking about inflation and how it kills the elderly,
Yeah.
elderly tend to have their money in
Interest-bearing accounts.
exactly in certificates of deposit,
Yeah.
very conservative things, and they would get 5 or 6%
Yeah.
on a 3-year certificate of deposit. That's beautiful, okay? But now, what do I do with my money, Bill?
Yeah, what do you got?
Yeah.
Well, it is coming up a little bit.
Yes, it is.
I saw a couple of ads. One that had a variable. They paid 1% and then 1 1/4 and 1 1/2, and now I see another one local is just, I can't remember who it was. They'll give you 1 1/2 or to 2 right up front. Now 2 was back a few years ago.
You can
right?
get 2 on a 5-year.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what this was. Yeah,
Yeah.
1 1/2 for something, and then
I think Catholic Charities
was it 2?
is got it at 2 for a 5-year.
But I get, like, my money market statement, 1/10 of 1%.
I know. I don't even look at it.
I think my last month I got $1.88 or something.
By the way, how about the folks that are looking to apply for a mortgage? Last year, the average for a mortgage application was $581.
Okay, you mean fees?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you pay the bank in order for them to say yes or no? Today, the average is $1,901.
That just ways of ripping you off.
That's right. Yeah, but you know what? Somebody trying to afford a home, hoping like hell they can squeak under and get it, has got to shell out $1,900 just to be told, no, you're not going to get it.
Well, this past week in the Globe, They had a article that to buy a house in the Boston, not metro, or Boston market, you have a minimum income of $185,000
Yeah.
for young kids to start out. Now that's a lot of money, even if two people.
Can you make that at McDonald's?
No, you can't.
Oh.
And they don't require, like it used to be 10% or 20% down. That's gotten ridiculous because you can't, because I think the medium house price right now is $825,000.
I think that's high.
Well, it is.
Yeah,
But you got Boston in there too. The
Oh,
city.
okay. All right. Okay. Yeah.
It's like $495 in. But even if it's $700,000,
Yeah.
if the kid comes up with $100K, that's a $600,000 mortgage. I don't know. I don't have the table in front of me, but God Almighty, that's a big nut every month to pay for a
The
mortgage
only
payment.
kids, young couples,
Yeah.
to get married, that can afford a mortgage, is when dad or dad-in-law
Yeah,
kicks in
dad-in-law
a
kicks
couple
in.
of $100,000.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
And you know what? A lot of them are doing that, and that's how the kids are being able to afford a house. Yeah. And it's, you know what? You take a look at dad or mom-in-law or whatever, and you said they're going to inherit the money anyway.
Yeah,
So I'll give it to
that's-
them now, and it's just that much less that they'll inherit when I do pass. So, I think it's a good thing that the parents are able to do that.
Oh, I
for
do
the
too.
kids, yeah. Viking Tours is interesting. They have an ad on TV, their president,
Yeah.
and he talks about his personal values: kindness, honesty, hard work, and being curious. He said are the keys, as far as he's concerned, to leading a good life. And that's exactly how I felt all along. We should be stressing that sort of thing in our school systems.
Yeah,
Kindness.
his business is very solid, very very stable.
Yeah.
And he took that riverboat tour stuff
Yeah.
to a new height. Viking was the originator of
Yeah.
the
The longboats.
the longboats, yeah. And I know people that have taken Viking. They were very happy with it.
Yeah.
And now they've got some deep water boats out there too.
You got anything in your notes there?
Oh yeah, yeah.
All
I got
right.
a couple of things. What do you think about driver's license for aliens? I got an idea for this, and I don't know why the hell. First of all, I'm going to tell you right now. I don't. People agree or not agree. I know Baker doesn't agree with me. I think definitely they should have driver's licenses obtained with written tests and driving tests. But having said that, that driver's license should be just that, a driver's license. It should be noted and decimated as not for identification, not for anything else.
Not for voting.
No, nothing else.
But
It's
here's
for-
the thing.
And you make it bright pink with black letters.
Yeah.
So when you open it up, you say, wow, that hurts your eyes.
Yeah.
So you
and
can't-
instead of being horizontal, you do it vertical.
Yeah, it's just completely
Yeah.
different. But make every one of them idiots driving have a driver's license. It's damn dangerous out there when you got some guy from Guatemala that never did anything but ride behind a cart behind a horse, gets up here and he gets a car. He can't drive or she can't drive. You're putting everybody's life in danger. And then you gotta, but here's the kick again. You gotta make the penalty for driving without a license severe. If they're not here, instant deportation. Boom, gone.
You
If
got
you're-
them registered and into, a computer. You know where they are, where they live, and all that.
I know they're going to say, well, now they'll use it for this and they'll use it for that.
And the registry will sell licenses. Oh, you've taken the test? Oh, okay, well, here you go. Oh, $200? Okay.
Oh, well then, again, if you get caught doing it, you do 15, 20 years.
Yeah, see, we don't punish
We
those
don't
people,
punish.
though.
That's the problem
right.
with this. But in idea, I think they should have driver's licenses. They should be tested. They should be.
By the way, it's very possible that is going to go on the ballot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it will.
They're going to get 40,000 signatures, and they're going at it full blast.
Did you know that people that get signatures, they hire these companies?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't. I thought they had volunteers that were
No,
after them.
they
get
get-
between $4 and $8 a signature.
Yeah.
God, I hear I've been in the wrong business
I
all
know.
this time.
But they see what the problem with that is they if you could go back and you could yank the money back from them for all the signatures that turn out to be bogus.
Yeah.
That's why local people that are committed to the cause, I think, in a perfect world, should be the people that collecting the signatures.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but 46% support yanking this bill back
Yep.
that passed it, and only 40 support it. I think that most people will, depending upon how it's written on the ballot, I think most people will vote for pulling this law back. I don't think most people want to share the road with, but they're sharing the road with them now anyway. If the point you made was some fellow from Guatemala that's never driven a car. When I was in the service, one of my last little chores was filling in for the guy that tested the GIs for a driver's license in our motor pool when we got somebody new, came over and needed a German or an international license. And I had a kid from Philadelphia. So I said, well, let's hop in the truck. He said, okay. What do I do? I said, start the truck up. How do I do that? With the ignition key.
Oh, well, there's a bunch
And
of
he
people that don't
never
have
put
no
the
concept.
clutch in, and the thing jerked your head. And I said, wait a minute. I said, have you ever driven a vehicle? No.
Well, you can go through New York City or even Philadelphia, and you can find tens of thousands of people that have never driven, and they will never drive.
Yeah. What a nightmare that was.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Trying to get him up to speed.
Yeah, oh,
I
yeah.
told Sergeant Melzo, I said, we can't put him on the road.
No.
I said, he needs constant practice driving. He's a mess. So he didn't get a license.
I don't. It's a complicated issue. We got to do something about it.
Yeah.
But also another thing that there's a pyramid of problems we got. Christ, that T's falling apart before our very eyes. You know what I see that as?
Unbelievable.
That's the end result of years and years of patronage.
Unions.
And patronage. You put people in positions they shouldn't be in. Because for a long time, you got a job at the T, not what you knew, who you knew. Didn't matter if you knew squat. When we moved here, we were at my neighbor's house. We got real friendly with them. And I just, one night, we said something. I said, oh, hell, I said, I'd like to drive one of those trains. And I said, it'd be a cool job, just being a trainer. I said, I think I'll apply for the MBTA. And he said, who do you know? I said, nobody. He said, you better put $10,000 hooked onto that application. He says, they ain't even going to look at it otherwise. I said,
It's
what do you mean?
like judgeships.
Yeah, he said, the MBTA jobs, among others, they're all political patronage jobs. If you want a job, he says, I'm not talking about the guy that's digging the hole to put the rail in.
Right.
I'm talking the guy that's he's in charge of this, he's got a desk, he's got an office. He said, these guys are all patronage. And the old Peter principle that you rise to your level of incompetency showing up now big time in the T.
Sure.
You remember when we had the big snowstorm and the woman that was running the T, she disappeared.
Yeah.
She's quit. I quit. I'm running
Yeah.
away. She was a political patronage job.
course.
She was okay when she would, the report would come, well, sign this off for the checks, sign off this and sign off, oh, okay, and smile for the cameras. But when it came time to make a decision to keep those trains running, she had no idea.
When you hire a guy and you get him in place,
Yep.
and within the maintenance department, the boss's job opens up, and
Yep.
he's next in line to get promoted, and he gets promoted and he doesn't know a damn thing.
Yeah,
Then you know you're in real trouble.
that's Peter principle.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's alive and well in the
And pretty soon an
MBTA.
organization gets filled with these kind of people.
The only way I can see us working our way through that is to let the government take it over. The federals. They'll come in, clean house,
Clean house. That's what you got to do.
and you know what?
Too.
I would, believe it or not, I would get some ex-Army officers
Yep.
in there that know how to run a ship
That's right.
and keep things going straight ahead and enforce rules and regulations.
You're exactly right.
And
But that's so 180 degrees against what we do in this state. Well, who's going to, what's in it for me? You know?
yeah, what's in it for me? Yeah. It's like, as I said, it's like the judgeships.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
You
Same
have
thing.
got to pay off the governor.
Mm-hmm.
It's everybody knows it. That is how
Well-
you get appointed a judge.
A couple of years ago, when we had this scandal going with the probation department about these people getting these jobs,
Yeah.
what was DeLeo's answer? That's how we do business in Massachusetts.
The way
We've
it's
always done it that
been
way.
done. I know. And people come from around the country and they can't believe
Yeah, that's
that
how
it
it-
happens like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I talking to a guy that, it's a long story, but came in from Nebraska. It's not how we do things in Nebraska. You can't do that. You end up in jail.
And we've got a miracle. A healing miracle. Sal DeMasi.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
He was at death's door. They had to let him out of prison because he was dying. He didn't, his wife said he probably won't last the week. Well, how many years has it been now he's been out?
Looks pretty healthy to me.
Yeah, and he's trying to be a
Back-
lobbyist, for
A
Christ's sake.
lobbyist, yeah. Here's
I mean,
a criminal.
we've had a Lourdes type cure here. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hmm.
Man alive. Do you realize that we have gotten absolutely
Squat
to
again
nothing?
through the pile. Look,
You know, I get some stuff here that'll turn your hair green
yeah,
to talk about, and it's
Well,
going to have to wait till next time.
it's called job security, Bill.
That's it.
As long as we keep holding something back, they'll let us back in. Otherwise, get out of here.
I get a
you two.
story
Yeah.
that Yahoo Financial runs a survey of driving in the 50 states of the Union. The number one careful and considerate and squared away drivers are in Massachusetts. And it's been that way for 4 straight years. Do you realize there are states in the Union where 20% of the vehicles are uninsured?
Oh yeah, I know
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
and they've got arrest rates for DUI that are
Oh, yeah,
sky
high.
Yeah, and that's part of the way they rate them. Anyway,
yeah, okay.
folks, that's called a tease. You'll have to wait until next show to find
That's
out
right.
the details on that.
If we don't do that, they won't let us back.
That's it. All right, take care, folks.
Bye bye. Happy 4th.